March 19th, 1965. Dearest Suzie, I'm sorry that I waited so long to write, but the last 3 days have been pretty busy. We had 3 troop operations, and we flew all day each day supporting them. My foot seemed to be getting along okay, so I was only grounded 1 day. So I went out and flew on these last 3 missions. Then yesterday, trying to hurry, I stepped on some rocks or something and twisted it. Again. This time I did a bang-up job on it, so I guess I will be grounded at least 3 days. Otherwise, things are about the same for me. I don't know if I told you before, but I did get a letter from Glenna the other day thanking me for the bracelet. Do you remember right after I got over here, I bought some pictures painted on silk and never sent them home? Well, I had to fold them up to put in a box so I could keep them. Now they are kind of wrinkled and they have a paper backing, and I don't know if they will look all right. Anyway, what am I getting at is, I think I will go ahead and box them up and send them to you. There are 4 of them. I want you to give Laverne 2 of them and give the other 2 to whoever you want. But don't keep any of these. I will bring you 4 of them when I come home. But I got to thinking that I hadn't sent Laverne anything from here, and I know she will like these. I can't send them until payday because I am broke, and I'm trying to keep from borrowing any money. But when you see her, tell her that I am going to send her a birthday present. Another thing you can go ahead and do is get the boys' measurements and send them to me. I want to get us all a jacket made alike. When you do send me the measurements, make them just a wee bit big so that they will fit the boys when I get home. I want to have them made and bring them with me. By the time you get this letter, I will be down to 6 months. I'll sure be glad when they are over. These last 6 seem like a lifetime. I'm sure looking forward to those pictures you promised me. Oh yes, do you remember that black mynah bird that we saw in a service station once? He could talk. Well, there is a guy here who went to Saigon yesterday and bought himself one of those darn things. He paid a little less than $1 for it, and in the States they cost about $50. I personally wouldn't want one, but I thought that was something. Well, enough for today. Tell the boys I miss them, and I love you all very much. All my love, Bill. Today's letter is a rich snapshot of Popi's life at this point in the war. Not just the day-to-day grind of his missions, but the way his mind is constantly stretched between 2 worlds. The one he's living in and the one he's longing to get back to. One of the strongest threads running through this letter is how much Popi is already imagining life at home, even while he's still halfway across the world. He's making plans for jackets he wants made for him and his boys, for gifts to send back to his family, even for the silk paintings he's been holding on to since he first arrived in Vietnam. There's this quiet sense of hopefulness buried in the routine of letter writing. The idea that small gestures like sending a present or planning matching jackets can help bridge the distance between him and his family. I can't help but wonder if making plans for when he comes home gets him through the war. He paints a picture of his life at the end of it, and it keeps his mind off of all the ways he could lose his life in a second while flying, walking around the base, or simply acting within the basic parameters of his job. At the same time, there's a little more vulnerability coming through here than in some of the previous letters. His ankle injury, which started as a funny story about trying to rescue Charlie, is now keeping him grounded for a few days. He doesn't dwell on it or complain, but the way he talks about it, trying to avoid borrowing money, hints at the financial strain that soldiers and their families were often under. He's careful about how he frames everything, always trying to reassure Suzie without hiding the reality of what he's going through. His statements about being broke are informed by the letter we saw a few days ago, talking about running out of money and giving me more suggestions on how to handle his family. The mention of the black mynah bird at the end adds a surprising detail. One of those odd everyday moments that must have stood out against the backdrop of war. It's the kind of observation that makes you realize how much Bill was noticing the world around him, even in the middle of all the stress and exhaustion. And maybe that's the part of what helped him get through this time. Holding on to these small, almost playful details in a place where most of his day was defined by danger. I can tell you with certainty that Meemaw would not have been interested in these birds. She believes birds are beautiful, but, unfortunately, is deadly afraid of them. I am told she was attacked by a rooster while visiting a farm as a girl, and has been scared of them ever since. I've also been told that when I brought my parrot to her house when I was growing up, it was a big deal. The photo I chose for today appears to feature a bunch of Vietnamese civilians. This is a part of a series of photos that Popi took. It appears as if they are transporting them. Perhaps they are refugees or VIPs for the South Vietnamese. Many of the women have children on their backs. What did Popi think of when he saw these kids? Did they remind him of his own? I'm Alex Lowy, and I hope you have enjoyed listening to this episode of Dearest Suzie, and receiving messages from the past that my Popi wrote exactly 60 years ago. I sincerely appreciate your time and interest. Please consider following the podcast on your preferred platform, and if you're enjoying it, I kindly ask that you take the time to rate the show and leave a review. Also, please follow the project on YouTube, X, and Instagram. All likes, comments, shares, and reviews will help grow the reach of this story. The links for these things should be in the description of this episode. Please feel free to email me at dearestsuziepodcast@gmail.com if you have anything you'd like to say. I'd love to chat or to hear about your stories as well. Thank you for listening, and God bless.